Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome back to the Pretty Rich Teacher podcast. I am so excited to chat with you all today. We're going to be talking about how to know if you are a good fit for EdTech customer success or EdTech sales consulting as a transitioning teacher. So if you listen to my last episode, I do recommend you listen to that. It talks about what to do with your teaching degrees, what you're actually qualified for as a teacher. I would start with that one and then come back and listen to this one. But if you know for sure you want ed tech customer success or ed tech sales to be your new career path, then you are listening to the right podcast. So let's talk a little bit about if you'd be a good fit. So number one, any teacher, every teacher could be a good fit for customer success. That's the plain and dry. Okay. Every teacher, everything you do as a teacher is customer success. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the problems or questions I get about people who want to go into ed tech customer success. And then we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a open house, a tiny bit of like what is the role. Because you all know, if you all did not know, I'm just going to say it. I am currently a VP of customer success at an ed tech company. I started off as an EdTech sales consultant. That was my very first job out of the classroom, out of being an administrator. I worked in EdTech sales for about, I would say, 4 to 6 months before I got my promotion. So my first job was a $15,000 increase. Then I got another $15,000 increase when I switched into customer success. I did customer success for about a year and a half, and then I went to EdTech sales again because y'all will learn about it. I'm gonna really so this episode, not only you're gonna see if you're a good fit for these roles, but you're gonna kind of understand the difference between the two to see which one would be a good fit. Um, but I went into sales and then I went back to customer success. I go back and forth. I love both of them. I love both of them. They are two different careers, but they are also very similar. So I'm gonna kind of go over just all the questions and thoughts people have about going into this career. But that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years, aside from my business. The past 2.5 years, I've been running my business where I am a career coach specifically for women in education who want to make more money inside of a new role in the edtech industry. And the way I've been able, like I said last episode, I have 22 podcast interviews to schedule that are being scheduled. My assistant is reaching out to the girlies and coming on the podcast so they can tell you all the story. Okay. So not only do I do this role, I help people get hired into these roles. And all of my clients, like I would say almost every one of them, they get some type of not customer, company shout out. Like one of my clients, the first week she got a shout out in the Slack channel going to Spain. Another client, she got her first discovery call booked as she's doing sales. And she's like, it normally takes people months to do because I actually know what I'm talking about in these roles. So if you needed to know, now you know. So let's go over the questions. So when it comes to leaving the classroom, a lot of us want to make sure that we are still serving. We still love education. We want to make a difference. That's why we went into education. So when it comes to going into edtech is an industry called educational technology. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, I hear you talking about it. I know you do it. And people are like, am I a good fit? This is when y'all start entering. Hey, I'm a guidance counselor. Am I a good fit? Hey, I'm an art teacher. Am I a good fit? Hey, I'm a PE teacher. Am I a good fit? Hey, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay. A lot of us feel like we're not qualified because we have a second set of people. So like we have the first people who are like, oh, I don't know if I'm qualified. I don't know if I'm qualified. I don't know. They were saying jargon that I don't understand. And then we have another set of people who are like, oh, yeah, I know I can do that. And then they skip past the step of actually learning the job and they start applying for jobs and not getting interviews. And then maybe if they get an interview, they don't get the job offer. So, the number one thing, if you are questioning if you are qualified, the answer is yes. However, like I said in my last episode, when it comes to working in corporate, specifically in EdTech, I'm gonna talk about EdTech right now. When hiring managers are looking to hire, We're not hiring for potential. We're hiring for actual. Like, what can you actually do, right? Not what you potentially can do. A lot of teachers, because in the teaching profession, a lot of teachers just have to like showcase what they can do for that school. What I can do. But it's like, what have you done and what can you do for me? So when it comes to being qualified, even if like, just you thinking that you are qualified for it does not cut it. Okay. You actually have to learn the job. I know y'all gonna get tired of me saying that. Get tired, go to sleep, take a nap, learn a job, learn a job. Okay. Not only do we need to learn the job, but we need to learn how to market ourselves for it and sell our skills. So, but I feel like the biggest thing is like y'all just aren't sure. But if you're looking for a career that is going to be um, honoring your teaching experience and your education experience, if you want to make sure that your degrees are not going to waste, you still want to serve schools and school districts in a different way, that is what EdTech customer success and sales will give you. Now, I'm going to kind of go again. What I do see a lot of teachers do is once they find, okay, customer success, I'm going to apply for the jobs. Y'all are thinking like y'all are about to, I don't know what it is, but it's like y'all will kind of skip past the steps because I tell y'all to learn the career first and then you market your experience. But what y'all do is you go on Chat GPT, and be like, hey, align my resume to customer success. And then you have this resume that looks like it's brand new. And chat, don't get me wrong, I love chat. Hey chat, I like you. I see Smart House. Y'all not about to get me. I like my AI. But you're applying for the jobs and then you're wondering why you don't get an interview. Okay, most of y'all either you use chat for the resume, or you like just submitted your teaching resume itself. Like you're just like, okay, no, you using your teacher job getting skills for EdTech corporate job skills are different. Like again, to remind you all, the process of getting a teaching position in education, you just apply, you get an interview, you get hired. Y'all are thinking that the same thing happens here, and it don't. Okay, you must. These are six-figure careers. So the reason why I have narrowed down to EdTech customer success and sales, not only because it's the roles that I've done really well, not just what like done them, I've done them well, where I'm in a leadership position for customer success, but what happens with it's always in demand. Every edtech company has sales and customer success. They don't always have curriculum design. They don't have, like, for sure, those two roles are there. They're the most in demand and they're most paid. 80 to 100K for both of these roles. Okay. But again, when teachers learn about customer success, because again, I do have resources. If you haven't already seen, I do have a quiz in my bio that asks you which one would be a good fit. And then I have a free intro training. And then people, I recommend learning more about it so that you can be confident in explaining your skills. But you are applying and then you're not getting interviews and then you're saying that they're not hiring teachers, but it's really your resume needs to speak to the hiring manager, showing them how you already do this job right now. Okay. Um, Sometimes people get interviews and they don't go to the next round and they're wondering why they're not going to the next round. And it's the same step of they skip the skill of learning. If you are nervous in your interviews, there's two reasons why people are nervous. One, you don't actually know what you're talking about. And two, you're making this interview very high stakes. But if you know what you're talking about and you go into these as a confident conversation because you have learned the job, learn how to market your skills and sell your skills, they should be easy. Okay. But I want you to know if you have applied for customer success and applied for edtech sales and you haven't gotten hired yet, it's because you skipped a skill that you need to learn. Okay. So luckily for you all, I'm going to go over the skills you need to learn for these roles. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story of like why I went. So I'll kind of start with that. No, I'll go over it and then I'll go how I went back and forth. So very first thing, let's talk about customer success and sales. So I'm going to use IXL for example, because I think most people know what IXL is. IXL is like IXL is a edtech company, but like what y'all can do is scroll your class link and Clever and Classing are also EdTech companies, but those are all EdTech companies. So I want you to follow me. Those are EdTech companies. Okay. And in order for them to even get in your school district, they have to talk to a sales consultant. Now, a sales consultant is someone who quite literally, shows the school district leader the product. They talk to them first, they show them the product, and they purchase the product. Like, there is no Amazon that they can buy IXL or buy the grade book for their school. They have to talk to somebody. And educators and admin love talking to educators. They love it. Okay. So that's sales. So there's always going to be in demand for sales, because when it comes to ed tech, so as long as education is around, ed tech will be around, because ed tech serves schools and school districts. They are the services. There's transportation, grade books, curriculum. The list goes on. Again, if you go through your Clever, ClassLink, those are all ed tech companies. Okay. They need a sales consultant to be able to get someone to even purchase. Okay. So I'm going to talk about sales first and then on the customer success. So I started off in sales, and what sales look like on a day-to-day basis was really the main, I would say, like 4 things. I have my notes there so I can stay on track. But number 1, when it comes to sales, before I go over the 4 things, I know there's a lot of discourse about sales. People are like, "Oh, I'm scared of sales. I'm scared of having my salary be dependent on my performance." And like I said in the last episode, every corporate job is going to be dependent on your performance. Like, the only job that does not really care that much about your performance is education, because they need teachers. They need teachers bad. So they are not like, even though they may be evaluating y'all really hard, they need teachers. And if that school won't you, the next school will. So I want y'all to get out of your head the idea of safety when it comes to a job. No job is permanent. So that's one thing. 2, when it comes to sales, the reason why I went back to sales, and I'll kind of go over it. Like, when it comes to sales, what you're mainly doing is you learn the product itself. Then you're going to be doing something called prospecting. So people who make really good sales consultants, I'll kind of tell you this. If you have any retail experience, if you have a business, if you want to start a business, those are the 3 things. If you want to start a business, you already have a business, or you've done retail sales before, your retail sales can be Chick-fil-A. Your retail sales can be Chicken Salad Chick. It could be a pizza shop. It could be Starbucks. It could be Victoria's Secret. These are all roles that my clients have had and have gotten sales jobs with. But if you've done sales before, even if it was retail, Charlotte Russe, etc., that is sales experience. So as long as you have experience doing sales and you have had a sales goal before, even if your sales goal was upselling credit cards, those are sales skills. And those are the only skills really needed for you to be qualified. Okay. But in my program, so you all know, in my program, I teach both of these careers. Like, you get a certification in both of these. Um, but I teach the process of how to be great in sales. One of my colleagues, she was on the podcast before, Hillary. Hillary makes over 200K. Hillary still consults with me. I love to be able to be a guide for helping people make sales. I also use the same sales skills. Me and her coworkers, we both did sales. I use my sales skills in my business. She uses it working in a company. But these are great skills to have when it comes to sales. Sales is just prospecting, which is finding ideal clients for the product. So for example, let's do IXL math. Okay. Pop quiz. Who makes decisions on buying the curriculum at your school? You're probably going to say a teacher leader, instructional coach, but the people who sign the checks are the principals or the assistant principals or district leaders. So if you are in sales, we're trying to figure out, okay, if I have IXL math, who are the decision makers? That's prospecting. Who needs to hear about this product? Now, we'll tell y'all, people do go on the websites and request demos for the products as well. So you're not always having to go find them, but like, the goal with sales is to find the people who would be beneficial to buy this product. That's prospecting. Okay. Who would be the ideal client? Then there's planning. So whenever you're doing sales, you're going to have a territory. So let's say I'm in Florida. Okay. My territory would be Florida, which means I am the salesperson for Florida. Okay. Typically, companies have it divvied out. They may have 4 or 5 sales consultants, depending on how big the company is, but you will have a region that you're responsible for. And it is your goal, I mean, your plan, your job to prospect in your territory. You may have more than one state, but your goal is to find a list. So, like for me, Florida, there's 67 school districts. So, for me, prospecting, like, I'm going to go down the whole rabbit hole of IXL math. My goal is to ensure that I find, what districts and schools are looking for that product. Sometimes I'm talking just to schools only. Sometimes I'm talking to school districts. But my goal is to find the right decision maker and also find a problem that we're looking to solve. If you go on your school district's website, you should like look up the strategic plan. If you can't find your district strategic plan, look up Atlanta Public Schools strategic plan just to see what I'm talking about. But every district has goals of what they're working on. Your district maybe focusing on increasing reading proficiency. Okay. So let's stay with that example. Maybe they really want to increase reading proficiency. So for me as a sales consultant, knowing that Atlanta Public Schools is looking for a reading curriculum, I have my prospect and I have my plan. So I know everything that I'm doing as far as getting them to talk to me, I'm going to lead in with what they are looking for currently. Now, this is advanced stuff, but I'm just kind of giving y'all the gist of what it is to decide if that's something that you can do. But so far, it's what I can tell you about sales. It's research. It's 80% research and relationships, 20% actually contract negotiation and sales. But you're just making a plan for your territory. So that'd be doing a lot of research. So if you're doing Florida, you're researching all of the districts, what are they looking for? And then you start actually like the prospecting of like emailing, calling, etc. Now, a lot of people also like, oh, I don't want a cold call. First of all, like there are so many different ways to bring in prospects. And I teach that in my program as well. You don't have to cold call, but your goal is to get people talking. But I will tell you all, leaders love to talk to former educators. Okay. But essentially your process is discovery. Like once you get them on a call with you, you're going to ask them a lot of questions. What are you looking for? What are you currently using? What puts you in the market right now? You're asking a lot of questions, kind of like a doctor trying to prescribe medicine. You're going to learn what they're looking for. Then once you do that discovery, then you're going to do a demo, show them the product, what they're looking for, and you help them make a decision. That's sales in a nutshell. Okay. That is sales in a nutshell. Now, then you pass it over to the customer success manager. So now I'm going to venture over to customer success. So after the sale is closed, so this is why why I went back to sales. After they say yes, like sales is the first yes. Sales is the first yes. Customer success, you are going to basically literally like shake hands. The best way for me to describe it, imagine a kid who's been in a teacher's classroom for half the year. Okay. They've been in the classroom for half the year. And because the sales process usually takes like 2 to 6 months for one district. That's normal. And then they tag team and they pass them to the customer success manager. The CSM's job is to take everything they talked about, like why did they say yes? What are they looking for? When do they want to roll it out? Like you are actually the project manager to get IXL rolled out in their district or school. It can be a school, be a school district. But your goal is to really talk to the sales team. Again, act as if like you had a student who was with another teacher and now you're talking to the teacher to kind of get to know them so you can build their IEP. Okay. Well, if you are a special ed teacher, especially if you're a special ed teacher, you all make great CSMs. Okay. Really, every teacher makes great CSMs. But if you understand what an IEP is, where you have to make an individualized plan for a student, essentially what you're doing is you're making an IEP for schools or school districts. So everything that they're wanting, they say, hey, I have IXL. I want this rolled out. Right now it's March. I want this rolled out by June. This is my team. These are my issues. These are my things. Help me. And the customer success manager literally maps out the plan. So essentially you create what I call it's an implementation plan, a plan for implementation. And think of it as a lesson plan. You're helping them roll it out, but it's more of a project management plan of how they're going to roll it out. Not only going to help them roll it out, we're going to ensure they're successful in continuing to use it. Okay. Your metric, so like sales, your metric is like one, you have a base salary for both positions. So sales, My base salary when I did sales was $100,000. And then on top of that, I also got commission. So a lot of us think that they're working for their commission. No, you have your base salary and you also get commission off the top. Okay. Now, for a customer success manager, you don't have a quota per se, but you do have what we call a book of business, where you're going to have about 30 accounts, depends on what type of account, because there are different types of accounts. And your goal is for them to say yes again, like renewal. So typically, all EdTech companies, they run a subscription model where they're doing year after year renewals. So even though as a CSM, you don't have a quota you're responsible for, you are responsible for them renewing year after year. Okay. So you're going to be having implementation objections versus price objections. And for me, once I did implementation over and over, it does kind of get, because like the honest truth, think about you as a teacher, okay? Think about the last tool that your admin wanted you to implement and roll out immediately and how much you didn't want to do it. Your teacher friends didn't want to do it. Y'all didn't want to do it. This is a new technology. I don't like the technology. That is the person you're going to be helping implement. That's why we get paid the big bucks in customer success, because we are quite literally helping people use the technology enough for them to want to renew again. So the reason why I went back to sales is because, all I have to do is get them to say yes the first time. Oh, sign me up. And I was like, and how much money the sales team making? Because here's the thing, over $200,000. Like my old coworker, Hillary, she makes over $200K. Over. Because base salary plus the commission. And she's making even more. Okay. But she still calls me from time to time. And literally we talk shop and I give her some different guidance and tips. But she's brilliant. Love her. She's been on the podcast before. Love her. But yeah, customer success is the second yes. So being able to get them to say yes a second time. Okay. That means after then I smell the roses. Because y'all know some of the tools is like, I actually don't really like this tool. For me, and both of them are great. I'm not trying to persuade you to either. They're both good. I recommend you do both. So in my program, my clients don't have to choose. They can pick. They start with one, but they can get certified in both. Speaking of which, announcement, if y'all did not know, I am hosting a free training, a webinar called How to Leave the Classroom by August and Land an EdTech Job in 90 Days. Okay. This training takes place on May 7th at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to sign up, make sure you sign up on the link in the show notes or in the link in my bio. You want to be there or be square. It's the same week as Teacher Appreciation, and it's time to appreciate yourself by learning how to make six figures. Okay. It's time to make more money. We are ending the narrative of women being underpaid. We are ending the narrative of women not knowing how to make their own money. We are ending the narrative of women having to struggle for their money. So in that webinar, I'm going to teach you the exact 3 strategies of how to actually land a job offer in 90 days and leave the classroom by August. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. So after that free training, the doors will open to my brand new program called Teachers in Tech. It is the only and the first community program that is for women only. Sorry, boys. Sorry, not sorry. Teacher girlies only. You get to be in a community of women supporting women into 6-figure positions. Not only will you learn how to get a job, but you will have new teacher girly friends. Okay. I have 4 clients. Well, there are really 8 of them. 4 coworkers, 4 companies, 2 of them working there each. Whenever any of you all, so you're joining not just me, so you will be able to get support from me, but you also get support from the community. Like whenever you get an interview for, let's say, any company, you get to post and say, hey, I have an interview here. Anybody work there? And you get to actually network and talk with them. Okay, that's how they were able to become coworkers. So that's the best referral. Okay. But you will be not just someone who had a referral, you will actually know how to do your job because you're going to get certified. So this is the only program that's going to actually like help you quit your job safely without penalty, like safely, securely, how to leave without feeling guilty, how to leave confidently, how to learn your new job, like actually getting certified in EdTech customer success and or sales, learn how to actually interview at the six-figure level, how to negotiate your salary, all of that in 90 days. Okay? It is a year-long program with lifetime access to support. So that's going to give you the ability to land your job offer, and beyond. And beyond. Okay. I have clients who are in their new jobs who come in and still mentor the new girlies who are coming into it. So sometimes we have a call of someone who's asking questions about how to handle their job, and someone who's like learning about customer success for the first time. Imagine that being your friend. Imagine being able to have friends in a community where you get support. That's going to be opening, doors open for that May 7th. That is the only enrollment that I'm doing before summer. If you're not there, you will be square and waiting until fall. Okay? So if you want a job by August and you want to land a job in 90 days, you want to be at that webinar, May 7th. Register. Okay? That is what I'm going over. But let's go back to customer success and sales. So again, common questions. Are you qualified? Can my degrees transfer over? Yes. All you have to do is actually learn the job. And for each of these activities, each of these roles, sales and customer success, my certification is you doing all of the responsibilities. So if you want to be able to interview confidently, a lot of my teacher girlies are like, okay, I want to go to the interviews, but I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. You will know what you're talking about. If you don't want to freeze up, if you want to know exactly that role in and out, just like teaching, that is what you're going to be learning. Okay? So I'm thinking about other questions. A lot of y'all start to kind of think about salary when it comes to these roles. Again, 80 to 100K are what these roles mostly do. They're 80 to 100K. So when it comes to like the base salary, both of them range 80 to 100K, but for sales, you will get commission. So off the top of the sales that you make, your job is to make sales. So you will make additional money. And then for customer success, you get extra bonuses depending on your renewal rate, your retention rate. Now, my retention rate for my book of business always reigned between 95%. Okay. So in my program, I literally teach you all the strategies of how to ensure your clients are renewing. Okay. Let's see. So let's see other questions. How to know if you'd be a good fit for these. The simple answer is 1, if you are good with technology. Okay. Clever ClassLink. If you can train people on technology, you're a good fit. If you are someone who is open to becoming a beginner and learning these roles, you are a good fit for EdTech customer success and sales. Okay. If you are so I'll kind of go over, actually what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit also about, so that's it. Learning how to train people on technology and being able to become a beginner and learn the role itself are all you need to become those roles. Now let's talk about perks. What I love about sales, if you like to be flued out, if you like steak dinners, if you like to be wined and dined, if you like to travel, that's EdTech sales. You're quite literally going to be, most of your travel will be for conferences. Sometimes you're going on site to do a demo. Like you are essentially going to be talking to the people. If you are a people person, if you're not afraid of money, you're going to do well in sales. Okay. The art of persuasion. I feel like, especially if you are someone who wants to start a business and succeed in if you are a business owner and you are not making money in your business, it's more likely you don't have the sales skills. So I highly recommend, and if you take my quiz, it will kind of help you decide. But if you want to start a business, I recommend sales being, and it doesn't be your first career, but I recommend you not being afraid of sales. If you're afraid of sales, you're afraid of money. And honestly, it's sell or be sold to. I like to sell and I like to be sold to. I like both. So like when I go somewhere, I actually ask for what upgrades do y'all have available? Like I already know. So y'all know I love my Express Pass. I went to, if y'all see my YouTube vlog, you'll see, that I go to theme parks, etc., and I have the express pass. But I looked for the VIP. I'm like, wow, I want a VIP. I love to pay for stuff. Sell me on it. Why should I buy this? I love being sold to, but I also know how to sell. I'm not afraid of selling, and I'm not afraid to be sold to. A lot of y'all, and I'll be honest with y'all, a lot of you all are selling. Are we friends? I'm telling y'all the honest truth. Y'all know how to sell a victim story of how desperate you are in getting a new job, but you won't sell yourself on the work required to get your job. So like, if you avoid hard work, that's also another reason why you're not making money. Sales will literally learn the art of not just persuasion, but like the art of how to sell your skills. You have to know how to sell to make money. Even with you doing customer success, you still have to sell. You're selling them on why they should use this product. So common issues that come up with customer success is, let's say you train everybody on everything and now usage is like low. No one's using it. You have to sell them on getting on a call with you. Sometimes they go ghost. Sometimes they go ghost. Sometimes they don't want to do it. Sometimes the district bought it and the teachers don't want to do it. Okay. Now, again, luckily for you, if you join my program, you won't have any of these problems. So you get to have not only my brain, but all 15, 20 of each of the customer success managers and salespeople that are in my program who have been working in it. I feel like some of them are on their 1 year, 2 year anniversary. So people are more than likely on their 1 or 2 years. I've been doing this for 2.5 years. You get to have those brains. I also have, so like with my program, and see how I'm also not shy of selling my program. Because first of all, this is the program that I wish I had when I left. And I know that this program is the best. That's why I give lifetime access for people who are joining now. I cannot guarantee it will be lifetime access forever. That's why you're going to join this enrollment right now. Get your coins together to make more coins. Okay. When it comes to customer success, the perks for that is that you're really just a glorified people pleaser, meaning your job is just to make people happy. If anything breaks, I would literally sit and crumble for their troubles. I'll be like, hey, careers crumble for your troubles. I get to build rapport, relationships. I get to talk to them, figure out, hey, why aren't they implementing it? Like, it's really relationship based. But both of these roles are relationship based. But I don't want y'all to be scared of either of these. Not one of them. I have clients who are in sales. Like, I had a group coaching call last week, and we were in the chat, and people were like, I had a newbie come in, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, this is so much. Like, I feel scared, but also feel excited. And then I said, okay, it's the salespeople, because people are scared of sales. I mean, how many of y'all salespeople want to go back to the classroom? They're like, absolutely not. They're like, I'll take these problems, because their problems are from a laptop at their comfort of their home. The comfort of their home. Okay? The comfort of their home, they're having these problems. But that's EdTech customer success and sales in a nutshell. I'm trying to think of any other question that people would have. But essentially, you are a good fit if you decide you're a good fit and you decide to take the time to learn the skills. So when you go to these interviews, me as a hiring manager, if I ask you certain questions, like if you feel like you're being grilled, you most likely just don't know what you're talking about. So I recommend you getting certified and learning. It doesn't matter where you get your certification. Again, if I were you, I would definitely join mine. Only because like this is what I've been doing. Not only is it just like the program, and I have 22 people that are coming to get interviewed. It's like this is what I do still day to day. And as a hiring manager, like my goal is for every teacher, especially the women, to be making more money. So like, that is what I do. Even if you just listen to my podcast, I want you around richer people. And that's also what's going to happen in the teachers in tech. You're going to be around richer people, and therefore you automatically become rich. Next week, I'm going to be in Miami, rubbing shoulders with millionaires. I want to be around people who make money. Okay, because me being around those people, I think like them, and I have things like them. That's what I want you on doing. But yeah, you have to learn your job, because if you want to interview confidently, if you're not getting past the second or third round, you're probably interviewing like a teacher, and you probably just don't know the job well enough. Then once you like learn this, there is another skill of marketing. So like it's one thing for you to learn customer success, but you have to rebrand your experience in a way that recruiters will understand. Most of my clients will brand themselves, and you have to be confident enough to rebrand yourself. But as someone who already helps roll out technology tools, the thing is, you probably already do this. Now, another thing I get, especially if you were just a classroom teacher, my client who doubled her salary, like clients who have gotten 100K salaries or doubled their salary, are teachers. I have admin, I have instructional coaches. So if you're someone who's thinking like, oh, well, I'm only a teacher, I'm not a department head, I'm not a leader. If you train one person one time on one technology, you are qualified. Even if you have not trained anybody, one person, one time on one technology, if you have the ability and a desire to learn how to train people on technology, you are qualified for customer success. Okay. It's just being able to rebrand your experience in a way that people will understand it. I have people who have 3 years experience only teaching. It's all about the rebrand. Okay. That is the second thing. So marketing. So that's really making sure it's put on your resume. The reason why you're not getting interviews is because you have not branded in a way where they see you. They should not just see you only as a classroom teacher. Because as a CSM, you're not going to be working just with teachers. You're not going to be working with students. You're going to be working with adults to roll out their technology tools. So marketing your skills is another skill. And then selling your skills. Why you, why everybody else. This is where my portfolio comes in handy. I always refer back to my interview with Jada. If y'all scroll back and find the interview with Jada, she was only had 3 years teaching experience. 3 years. Okay. And she was able to use that portfolio to build her knowledge and customer success, as well as a set portfolio to be able to showcase to the hiring managers. That alone helped her land an interview, and they quite literally created a job offer for her. Okay. For her because of this. Now, I've had so many, no, their names are not Jada, but I've had so many more people after her. Like after Jada, I have even 15 more people who have gotten jobs from that time. That was not too long ago. It was like right after winter break. I'm sorry, Thanksgiving break. So I've been in the lab getting them their jobs. So that's how you can get it. So I hope you have a clear understanding if you'd be a good fit for customer success or sales. Again, if you join my program, you get to do both. But like if you were someone who just wants to know if you're a good fit, EdTech sales versus EdTech customer success, one of them is going to be the first yes. Customer success is the second yes. Both of them have base salaries. You just get extra commission for sales, and then you also get bonuses for customer success. I've had bonuses that the lowest bonus I've ever received, like for my first year, like my first 6 months, the lowest was at $4,000. That's a low bonus. Okay. 4,000, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000. Okay. More commission, especially if you're doing sales, especially if you're selling to school districts. I want you to believe that I've had teachers, I don't kind of give you examples. I've had a teacher who only had pizza shop experience and teaching for 3 years, teaching drama, get a six-figure position working in sales. I've had someone who's only taught for 3 years, only classroom teaching, and she was a sales agent, like a leasing sales agent for less than 6 months, land a job. I've had someone who's only been a kindergarten teacher, land a six-figure job. I had someone who's only been a PE teacher coach, land a six-figure job. I've had someone, a music teacher, land a six-figure job. Anybody can do these roles, especially if you're a teacher. Customer success, like essentially your students become schools and school districts. If you're an administrator, you talking to another administrator about getting a new tool is what you do already. Okay. The art of persuasion. And again, people are already looking for these roles. They're looking for they're looking for new technologies. Okay. Let me see. I think that's it. But I want you to just basically walk around and knowing that if you have not landed interviews, your resume just is not speaking to your new career. If you've landed interviews, but you have not landed a job offer, your interviewing skills need sharpening. And it's not just the skill of interviewing. I mean, it's the skill of interviewing is one thing, but like you need to be able to confidently go in there like a no-brainer candidate. Okay. In my program, you get certified as an EdTech customer success or sales consultant. So you get to go into your interview certified with a portfolio. That's the secret to my no-brainer candidates. Okay. I quite literally teach ice and neon autograph. Okay. So I hope you now know which one would be a good fit for you. EdTech customer success or sales. Again, I go back and forth. I did sales. Then I wanted to go on customer success. And I'm like, I don't want to do sales anymore. I don't like it. I was scared, but then I'm like, oh, you know what? Even though I love customer success, I like sales. and then my VP of customer exec. I go back and forth. And the thing is, you can go back and forth. If you really want the ultimate layoff proofness, both of these roles are six-figure and demand careers. People who join my program, not only do they like pick one career, like I have clients who will do EdTech sales, do that whole portfolio, get certified, land their sales job, and then get certified in customer success and then go into customer success and vice versa. Like you double proof yourself that way. And then you still always have the classroom to fall back on. Fall back on. But I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful. All right. I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye.